Alright guys, you just made it through 1A, 1B, hopefully fairly quickly because it was just learning about what volume is, which I'm sure you kind of already knew, and about the equations that you can use to find volume. So now that you know the background of volume, let's do a couple of examples with actual shapes and actually finding the volume. So you should have your notes out to page 1C. You should have a pencil ready to go, and we're going to go through the 3 video examples. So a reminder, here are the volume equations at the top. The first one, and the most commonly used one for a rectangular prism, is V equals L times W times H, or as we know, volume equals length times width times height. The other one you can use occasionally is where volume equals the area of the base, that's why it's a capital B this time, area of the base times height. I'll show you one time where we might use that, but normally we'll use this first one, length times width times height. So let's get started. So go ahead and follow right along with this video example, and if you think you've got it, you can fast forward and check with the answer if you'd like, but just make sure you are getting it. Don't rush through if you're not understanding. So let's look at this first one. So all it's asking is for us to find the volume of the rectangular prism. So if I look, I've got my length, width, height, 2, 3, 6, so I'm going to set that up. And we're going to do what we call substituting in for those variables. So instead of writing the L, W, and H, now I'm going to write the numbers. And honestly, since we're multiplying all of these, it doesn't matter what order we write them in. So I just decided to do 3 times 6 times 2. And I got my V here to represent volume. So let's just do those first 2 numbers together. So 3 times 6 is 18. So now I have 18 times 2, and I suggest you try and write it one step at a time. That way you don't get your numbers confused and you don't forget which numbers you've already used. So now by me writing it this way, I know I've used the 3 and 6, and that I still need to use the 2. So now I can do 18 times 2. You can either do it in your head or off to the side if you need to. But if we do it, we should get 36. And because it's feet and we're talking about volume, it's going to be feet cubed. So we put that little 3 there because there were 3 measurements we were multiplying together. So feet cubed. So the volume for this shape is 36 feet cubed. Okay. If you get confused along the way, feel free to pause, rewind, go back and look at something, but let's go on to problem 2. Okay, again, following right along, recording these notes as I take them. So now we're finding the volume of this rectangular prism. And again, we've got a length, a width, and a height, so that's the equation I'm going to use. So I've got 10 times 20 times 15. Again, it does not matter which order we put this in because we're all going to multiply them all together anyways. So the first one, 10 times 20, is fairly easy. We get 200. And then again, I'm rewriting it so I don't forget that I also need to do that 15. So again, if you want to do this off to the side, you can, or use some mental math. Think 2 times 15, that's 30. Now I've got to add my 2 zeros at the end. So that becomes 3,000. And my unit is centimeters, and I'm doing cubed because I'm talking volume because I multiplied 3 measurements together. So 3,000 centimeters cubed would be our volume for this rectangular prism. Okay, hope you're starting to get the hang of it. We got one more here. And again, if you need to go back and look at any, rewind the video, pause it, try it again if you need to. So for this one, if you look, this one, it's still considered a rectangular prism, but the base of the rectangular prism is a square. So it's a 6 by 6. So this is an opportunity where we could, if we wanted to, use volume equals area base times height. So I know the area of this base off the top of my head is going to be 36. So you can do that if you want, but essentially what I did was length times width. So either one of these you can still use. It kind of just depends on how you write it. So I'm using the base times height one, and I'm saying the base is 36 and the height is 10. So I'm using that equation for this time. Feel free to use the other one if you want. Totally up to you. So this is pretty easy multiplying. We got 36 times 10 to give us 360. And again, centimeters cubed because we got 3 measurements we're multiplying together. Okay. Again, if you need to go back and look at anything again, feel free to rewind and pause the video to take a closer look. But otherwise, you have 3 practice problems to go try. Don't forget to check the answer key before you move on to the next level. Good luck!